Charlie is finally confronting the enemy. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess K. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the Darwin incident, episode 4. So last time, the animal rights group have decided to fully attack and just completely take away all pretenses. They were even fully not even willing but planning to murder Charlie's adoptive parents and Lucy. And the reason for this is basically, necessary casualties for the sake of their cause. They rationalized it by basically saying oh, well, doing what we're doing, we're going to have to, make some sacrifices. And it's ridiculously stupid for a number of reasons. The one guy, though, who was leading the squad before, showed that he had some misgivings about most notably killing a child, which went against, as the leader pointed out, what he had said to his crew. And his basically thought was I'm trying to hype them up as a crew. I'm trying to lead them into doing what needs to be done, but I still have my own personal feelings on the matter. Which is actually a very, mature thing to look at here. I mean, this series is insanely mature and, very serious in the way it handles this all. But we're even seeing from the villains, who are just outright bad people, by the way. That's not subtle. But we're even seeing that, they even have misgivings about this, and I'm wondering if that could end up even leading to some of them defecting, or at least trying to. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. But after they attacked last time, Lucy had begun feeling, very scared, very anxious. And with her mother also coming in and threatening to move her to a different school if she interacted with Charlie again. Because her mother's, one of those helicopter parents. She's on the school board. And Lucy can't hang out with the monkey man, or whatever the exact specific thing she said was. It's just ridiculousness. It's stupid. It's bullshit, but yeah. And so when Lucy was meeting during lunch in private with Charlie, she made it clear how nervous and how worried she was. And Charlie's would you no longer be worried if they were taken care of, if they were dealt with? And she's well, yeah. And so Charlie because he's actually growing to very much like her. She's his first friend. He wants to, protect her. He wants to keep her safe. He wants to keep her happy. And so because of that, he chooses to go and confront them. At the end of the last episode, we see that the trio are in a hotel or motel room, just kind of debriefing and planning what's next, when Charlie breaks down the door after they don't answer him knocking. And so this is going to be interesting, because I obviously don't think Charlie's going to stick with them or like anything like that. I don't think he's going to like stay by their side, or for a number of reasons. I don't think they're going to even like capture him completely. I think they're going to talk. I actually think that's all that's going to happen here. I think Charlie's going to talk to them. I think they're going to explain themselves to Charlie, explain why they want him, why they feel like they need him, explain their stance and everything. And Charlie, knowing him, is probably going to have quite a bit to say on that, because we know he is not afraid to share his views on things. We've seen that in the cafeteria with him talking to those two bullies. So that's the most I think is going to come from this. I could maybe see Charlie threatening them if they ever like came near his family or Lucy again. I could maybe see that happening, but I don't see like any actual like notable fight occurring between them right now. If they're going to do that, they're going to hold off on that, I feel. Like, that's something that would be for a later part of the season. One thing I'm really curious about is there enough content in the manga for this to be a multi-season thing, or is it just going to be a single season thing? I'm good either way. If this is just a single season series where it just like is a very short, to the point story that doesn't need anything more past that, I think I would be okay with that. Because I feel like with a series that's clearly trying to say quite a lot, that works really well. It's not like a shonen out there that needs to be like super long to have all these different arcs. This feels like the kind of series that could just be 1 or 2 seasons max. But again, I don't know how much content is in the manga to adapt. And I don't actually know how long this series is going to be, because I think there's like 7 or 8 episodes out currently. And I don't know if it's going to be a single core or a double core series. Single core, for those who might not know the term, is about 12 to 13 episodes. It's basically one season of anime. A double core would be 2 seasons of anime, so it's about 22 to 24 episodes typically, sometimes upwards of 25 and 26. But it depends on the series. It just really depends on the series. I think 24 is the most common. And then there's, of course, shows that aren't really core and season based. Shows that like just continue on even past that. Stuff like, obviously, One Piece up until recently, and then Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Shows that are just like having a lot of episodes, but aren't like constrained in that same way. So yeah, I could see like 1 or 2 seasons for this. I couldn't see this going on longer than that, though. And I don't think it would need to. But it also depends on how many episodes we're getting. Because if this is a double core, if this is like 24, 26 episodes or something, honestly, I think it could just be that. I think it could just be that. If it's a single core, we could maybe have a second season. Basically, I'm saying about 24, 26 episodes total is probably all we would need for this series. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. It might actually delve into a lot more and might start to branch itself out. I don't know. But in the meantime, I think we should get started with this and see what this episode has in store for us. So let's get it going. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked it up because I wanted to know, and the manga for this is actually still ongoing. It started in 2020, and it has currently 10 volumes out, with volume 10 having just released on December 23rd of last year. So it is still very much ongoing. It is still, like, consistently being released. Which means that there might be room for more than one season. I think it's very possible that we could get more than one season, but we might have to wait a bit for a season 2 down the line. And it also depends on how long the series as a whole is going to end up lasting, how much the first season adapts. A lot of different factors to go into that. This episode, let's talk about this episode though. Wow, this got, like, very intensely serious, which makes sense. Like, the entire series has been, well, serious pretty much this entire time. It's been one of those shows that, like, tackles very real, like, especially in America where this takes place, very real situations and themes and just various issues, we'll say, with how a lot of people are treated, like, again, in real life. It's obviously making a lot of comparisons with how the U.S. government sees and treats a lot of people of color, a lot of queer people, just people who are seen as either lesser or other. People who are often being stripped of their civil rights, their human rights, who are being stripped of, protections under the law. And especially with the current administration we have, it's become worse and worse, and there's threats of so much, like, terrible things happening in regards to the future for that. And so it's like it's very clearly trying to make statements on this, and using this kind of hybrid creature, a human chimpanzee hybrid, is a little bit of a weird way to express it for a number of reasons. But it's making very clear what the message overall is supposed to be. And this is a way to kind of, like, utilize a character who would naturally by people be seen as an other. And it allows for this to really hammer in the heavy thematics of that, with, like, even the legality of how Charlie is viewed by the state. As mentioned in here, Charlie is not viewed as a person or an animal because of the hybridization of Charlie's creation, of Charlie's birth. He is seen as nothing more than a thing, as literally the property of his parents. And that's fucked on a number of levels. But that's the point they're trying to make. That this kind of thing is fucked. That Charlie is seen as lesser. And there's a big the big discussion of Hannah and Bert talking to Lucy about wanting to fight for Charlie's rights, natural human and civil rights that everybody, every living, thinking, conscious, fully conscious being should have. Talking about the right to vote, the right to, just be seen as a person. And through this, we even get like the full details of what happened when Charlie was 5. Charlie was being picked on by other kids because of course he was. Because kids do shit like that. Kids will act out and often pick on, a lot of times just for fun. Because they don't know better. They're 5-year-olds. But Charlie got freaked out. Charlie's instincts kicked in. And he very lightly, mind you, hurt these kids. It was very lightly. It was basically like a kid smacking another kid. It happens. And Charlie, though, because of the way he has been seen, was treated as a bigger problem. With the cops that were supposed to be protecting him now turning their guns on him and openly threatening him. And because he was already in a freaked out mood because, the kids were playing around with him and pretending to drown him or something. Again, as Hannah had put it, it's we don't think the kids actually were trying to kill him or anything. It was just kids being dumb kids. But at the same time, you also have to think that kids only act this way because this is kind of the ways they're taught. When kids are acting out in this kind of way, it's usually because they're either not taught to behave properly by their parents or they're taught to behave like this by their parents. Especially towards, people or anything that's different than them. But Charlie, again, was freaked out and really scared. And so he acted out. He panicked and he did attack the police. And again, he didn't hurt them severely or anything. He just he did enough to defend himself, but did not do anything to cause real harm. He actively avoided causing real harm. But it was treated differently. Because of how Charlie was seen, it was treated as a bigger problem than it actually was. And he was treated as a worse threat than he actually was. And so we find out that he had to be, for the last 10 years, had to be confined to this property. It doesn't exactly say why they suddenly loosened the restrictions and allowed him to go back to school to try again. But it was allowed. And now this incident has caused further problems. Because as we see going off the beginning, he does leave school and goes to confront the ALA, which we are made clear he doesn't actually know or the ALA at first exactly. He's even stated that to the police, that he just knew that they were the ones who assaulted his family and his friend. So, with everything having happened in the way it did, it just kind of led to him being blamed again. Which is ironic, because from what we're gathering with the ALA, they want to bring him to their side, partially because they don't like the way he's being treated, it seems. At least that's what they claim. That's what the leader is claiming. I don't know if we've gotten a name for him yet. But he's talking about the way like Charlie's being viewed and treated, and how extremist, how aggressively over extremist that group is. They're wanting Charlie to side with them and to like just not fight for equal rights in the same way that Hannah and Bert are, but to, you know, terrorize and force equal rights, to basically gain equal standing by fear rather than understanding. Which reminds me of a lot of different things, but one of the first things that come to mind is the web series Ruby, one of my favorite shows of all time. And the difference between the different parts of the White Fang. The White Fang and Ruby are a group that started out as an equal rights group, but were eventually taken over by a leader who led it in a more terrorist centric manner. And specific parts of it were emboldened to take that even further, to being like aggressively ruling and gaining equality through fear rather than actual understanding and, equality through better means and more actual like caring means. And a part of the big conflict with this during the course of the series is that one of the main characters who grew up within this organization has to learn to embrace the more caring, more kind side of it and actually fight to dismantle the fear-based terrorist side of the White Fang. Her friends, and her family working together to take it back so that they can foster peace rather than, again, fear. And so this kind of reminds me of that. You have the two different sides here with Charlie, Lucy, and Charlie's family wanting to gain these equal rights, not just for animals in general, but especially for Charlie through, proper means, by even appealing against the government and trying to make sure things go in a way that makes Charlie, legally speaking, a person. While you have the ALA, who is more the terrorist side, who literally the terrorist side of them. They're literally a terrorist group. And they're trying to take these equal rights by any means necessary, and that includes killing innocent people. And so it's just one of those situations where the show makes an active decision to show both sides and show you without like any kind of hesitant question which side is in the right and which is in the wrong. But it also makes it very clear that it's not wrong to be vegan. It's not wrong to be for animal rights. That's not the issue here. The issue is how it's handled. Because Charlie's vegan. Him and his family are all about equal rights and everything. But they're trying to handle this in a, good way. In a way that's not going to turn people against them. That's not going to, cause more problems. That's not going to hurt people, especially. While the ALA is, bombing places, murdering people, children even, is absolutely willing to go in and assassinate people, like out of nowhere. It's like they're psychopaths. And the leader himself is like the biggest psychopath. Like, look at his reactions to everything. They're so over the top and frightening. Just his facial expressions, just the wide, horrifying eyes and giant-ass smile, the way the camera leans into his face and everything as well. It's just he's so genuinely scary. It's like he doesn't feel human. And that's almost the most frightening part, because he comes across as very alien in his presentation. Even though we know he's a human, he's just, you know, psychotic beyond belief. He's so aggressively, like, evil and lacks, like, basic humanity and just any sense of reasonability. I don't know how to put it. You get what I'm trying to say, though. He's terrifying. He's like a loud. He's like, okay. Let me put it this way: if you've ever seen the Naoki Urasawa series, whether read the manga or seen the anime for Monster, and you know who the villain of that series is, Johann Liebert, this guy is like Johann Liebert with a louder personality. Johann was a lot more calm and kindly and everything. This guy is a lot more loud and wild and just crazed. But he has that functioning psychopath vibe to him, just like Johann Liebert did. And Johann was just like causing chaos and stuff with his actions. He didn't necessarily have like a big reason for it in the same way that this guy claims to. But it's still, it kind of reminds me of that. Just again, a lot louder, a lot more wild and crazed. Which is not a bad thing, because Johann Liebert is a terrifying villain. Again, if you've never seen Monster, I would definitely suggest it. It's a phenomenal series. It's a difficult watch though, because it's excessively serious to the point where it's actually like really upsetting at points, because it stays so intensely serious, and the topics it touches on are very, very upsetting. So yeah. But yeah, this episode just like really nailed so much, and it was like so well done. I love Charlie coming in at the end after hearing Lucy like crying for him and yelling for him. It's like just that alone is enough to get him to come, because she's the first person who truly, outside of his parents, has tried to understand and care for him. Like, those kids from his childhood could have been that, but because of what happened, that was never able to happen. That was never able to like really work out. Lucy is being to him what he probably wanted those kids to be. You know, just a really good, close, caring friend. And so, yeah, it's really great to see how quick he is to come to her when she's crying out for him. And he didn't hurt this cop, by the way. He's just holding him. He did not hurt him. He did not assault him in any way. But you know they're going to try to paint it that way. That's why at the end I'm like talking, oh, they're totally going to start like shooting at him or something. It's like, this isn't going to go well. This is not going to go well. Because again, like, Hannah and Bert made it clear that he, again, legally would be seen as like property and everything. And that he would be seen as evidence in a crime rather than as a person. And the deputy made sure that was also clear when they went there. He referred to Charlie that way, and it's just like, of course, we already know he doesn't like Charlie, so he's biased as it is. So yeah, this is probably not going to go super well. Also, Charlie might have a little possible PTSD from what happened when he was 5. We don't know yet. But I would not be surprised. And if like people start pointing guns at, if the police start pointing guns at him again, that might not end up being good. I don't think he'll really hurt anyone. But there is a little concern. If we're being honest. Unfortunately, it seems like from what we're told, Ming-Su won't be like telling anything about their group, and won't be probably revealing that Charlie wasn't the one who stabbed him. Although I don't know if they would even like care at this point, because as was put by the other guy, the lieutenant, I think his name was his position and everything. I forgot exactly what they said his name was, but I think he said something along the lines of that, like they were like interrogated by ISIS, and Ming-Su wouldn't speak then. So it's like, yeah, he's probably not going to say anything. He's probably not going to say anything about it, one way or the other. Which kind of sucks, because it's like you almost kind of would have liked him to like stand up for Charlie here, especially after his boss is the one who stabbed him. You would think he would give information out, feeling betrayed, but maybe not. Um, yeah, this was another really good episode. This series is continuing to impress me in so many ways, and there's certain things that, like certain comparisons and everything, I can't fully like argue to. I can only really like speak on the things that could connect to me, and based on things I've heard other people say that they can connect to, especially in terms of racial related stuff. Um, but I can only speak on like how like queer people and trans people are treated by the law, and how all this connects to that. But yeah, I would love to hear like perspectives other people might have on this, on a lot of the things that are being touched on here. It's definitely one of those shows that I think is, despite its initial concept seeming kind of wacky, with the Human Z thing, it's a series that takes itself entirely seriously and treats it with respect, care, and the proper amount of intensity that it deserves. And so, yeah, I'm loving it more and more. And this series absolutely could become one of my all time favorites. Kind of for a lot of the same reasons that Carol and Tuesday did. Carol and Tuesday touched on a lot of these heavy topics too, which makes sense. It's a Shinichiro Watanabe series, but I think that everything about this has been nailing it. This series is just impressing me on every level. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this episode. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.